Now that was Julius Caesar, who went in 7. Now let's take a look at the man who calls himself the noblest Roman of them all, Cassius Clay. And here with me, with his bodyguard, is Mr. Cassius Clay.
How you doing, Mr. Lewis?
How do you do? Mr. Clay, this is a wonderful name of yours. Was your mother or your father ever interested in the arts or literature?
Well, my father, he's an artist. He's an artist. He's best in Louisville, Kentucky.
Because your brother is named Rudolph Valentino.
That's right.
Your father liked William Shakespeare, I presume, did he?
Well, he read a little about him, but he really wasn't a Shakespeare fan.
Have you studied art yourself?
Well, I can draw a little, but I'm mostly concentrating on fighting. I'm busy knocking out all of these bums. I don't have time to draw.
You're a bit of an actor as well, aren't you, Mr. Clay?
Well, I'm not only an actor. A lot of people think I'm acting, but if they be at that Wembley Stadium June 18th, they'll see that I mean every word I say.
Is this self-confidence in yourself perhaps a publicity gimmick, as I understood, and as I've met you now?
A lot of people think it's a publicity gimmick, but you can call it what you want. I have had 180 amateur fights, won them all except 2. I have had 19 professional fights, won them all, of course, knocked out 15, and 13 of those 15 I predicted the exact round. You can call it a gimmick if you want it, but I'm throwing the blows.
And what are your impressions of this little country of ours?
Well, Great Britain is a nice place, but I'm from America and I'm not used to it. The cars are too small, the streets are too narrow. I like open spaces, and I haven't seen as many pretty girls like I do at home.
Are you terribly homesick there?
I can't wait to get out. And a lot of these people are booing me and making remarks at me on the street, and that's just going to make it hard on Henry Cooper.
Well, are you going to finish Henry Cooper so quickly as you said?
Cooper will fall in 5, and not only Henry Cooper, I have a middleweight back here by the name of James Ellis. Your man will fall, right?
That's right.
And Don Warner,
And
he's fighting Jim Cooper's brother, and he's going to fall. All of them are going to fall.
That's right.
What happens if Cooper happens to fall in 4, Mr. Clay?
Cooper will not fall in 4. Cooper will fall in 5.
You won't hold him up to keep him going till the 5th round?
Well, I'm predicting the 5th round. I'm not predicting 4. If he falls in 1, he just fall in 1. If he falls in 2, too bad. But I'm predicting round 5.
What is your impression of British heavyweights as a whole?
Well, I haven't heard too much about British heavyweights. I noticed he's the British Empire heavyweight champion, but he's not the champion in America. He's just a champion over here among the rest of these so-called fighters. But if he comes to America, he's going to get run out.
You're only 21 years of age now. You've said yourself you're rather a pretty boy, aren't you?
Prettiest fight in the ring today. 180 amateur fights, 15 pros, and I'm as pretty as you, and you don't fight.
Aren't you perhaps afraid that perhaps your pretty looks might get damaged?
Well, the day my pretty looks, the day it even look like they're going to be damaged, I'll retire.
Now, Mr. Clay, it looks as if our British welterweight champion, Brian Curvis, is going to fight Emil Griffiths. What do you think of Griffiths?
Well, I have heard a lot about this Brian fella. I never have seen him fight, so I couldn't make no predictions on it. I heard he's pretty tough, and welterweight's awful fast. But if he's a fast fighter, he'll have a good chance of beating Griffith. And I know Griffith pretty well. And if he beat Griffith, he'll be the greatest fight in the world, because I know a fellow by the name of Louis Rodriguez that Griffith just beat. And Rodriguez is awful fast. He's the prettiest thing on 2 feet for welterweight, and Griffith beat him. So if this fella Brian come over and beat him and Griffith, then I have to say he's the greatest.
Now, you say you're going to beat Mr. Cooper. But what then, Mr.
I want that big ugly bear, Sonny Liston. I want him bad, and I can't wait. And he must fall in 8 to prove that I am great.